What is up, everybody? This is Merc with the mic, and this is another The Game of Rage podcast by Red Cycle Inc. I'm Merc with the mic, and joined by Tenacious T.
I am in the building.
And we're back for Game of Rage, and the way we always start off Game of Rage podcast is with the challenge.
The challenge.
So last month, I was challenged to Star Wars.
Empire Strikes Back. Shadow of the Empire.
And you were.
I was challenged with Streets of Rage 4, which is a nod to our podcast. Yep. So I was actually very happy to actually to play that game. So I will start that because of that. You know what I mean?
Go ahead.
Yeah. So for any of our listeners out there, know that I've been horrible. And I'll say this every cast, but I've been horrible at completing games. I'm not good at it, especially when it's at home. You know, whatever. I got an excuse that I don't have enough time. But just so happens, this game was on the Switch, and I am proud to say that I did complete the challenge.
So the challenge was you had to fight one of the special bosses, and then complete the game.
Yes, I beat 2 of them.
Yes, you actually showed me. You did the which 2 you fought? You fought
I forget the names.
You
but
fought
the
Freddy Krueger one.
The one that looked like you know the movie Lights Out, not Lights Out. It looked like a demon from Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight. Okay. That one. It was like gray with the gray hair, and it looked very demonic.
Like
and then
Blanca. Style
body?
Yeah,
okay, but like a bland version of Blanca, yes.
Yeah, I got you.
That one, and then I forget the other one. The other one you were actually there for.
Okay.
When I did that, because
that was the barbarian, right?
Yeah.
He looked like a wrestler.
Yes, 100%. That was definitely it.
Okay.
But those, you know, if it wasn't for your help with that, which I will definitely give you a nod to, because I know you don't want me to fail. You want me to enjoy the game.
I give you all the tools to finish the game.
You lead me to water, I have to drink it.
Yeah.
So, those, you know, honestly, if I did not know that little bit of info, I would have destroyed those machines.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would have not even known that there was like a portal to another. Basically, you hop in an arcade game, and you fight like a side guy. You know what I mean? And you know, I died a couple times doing that, you know, just trying to figure it out, because just like you always tell me when we discuss this, that it's all about patterns.
Yeah. And
the patterns are easy to find and to like become accustomed to, but with the way the gameplay was when they are throwing like multiples, like the last stage is the perfect the perfect example. Is that there's a clusterfuck of all these different patterns happening at the same time, and one little slip up, you will get touched. You know what I mean? Like you will get hit. I would have never even known about those arcades. I probably would have destroyed them, thinking that they had an apple or a And I was playing it with our mutual friend Jerry. Shouts out to him, Mind of an Artist, Drugs and Demons. He on his Switch, the health things, like for me it was an apple and a turkey.
Oh, you
for
could
him
change
it
that.
was something else.
Yeah, you could
I didn't
change
know. I didn't know that. I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, if
bro?
you go to the options, you could change it. You could, I think you could put like a steak, or like you put like the big ham or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can change those.
But like easily, straight from the beginning of the game, I was just flying through it. It was nothing. I played with Axel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is just the go-to. You can't go wrong with him. You know what I mean? He's fast. I tried with others, and it just didn't work with me.
I like Adam. When you unlock Adam, he's actually really good.
Adam's the one with the metal arms, right?
Nah, he's the cop. So in the middle of the game,
Okay.
that's when you unlock him. I think after the
Yeah, yeah,
first
yeah.
the fight with the
I
chick.
never even bothered to even play with him. I
He's
played
pretty good.
the guy with the metal arms. I forget his name.
Max or something like that.
Yeah, Max, and I played with Axel. Those were the only two people that I played with.
Yeah.
Max, I did not like his gameplay at all. He's way too slow.
Yeah, he's slow. He's strong.
He's horrible. No, yeah, but being strong, you need to be fast in certain things.
He's a better character if you're playing multiplayer.
Well, I would assume that. Like I played with Jerry, and me and him were having fun with it. Like I can see 4 people doing it and just whooping ass. You know what I mean?
I think it's only 3. I think it's 3-player multiplayer. I don't think it's 4. I remember I played it. I remember the multiplayer because I played with Mike when it first came out. Shout outs to Mike, our producer. Yeah, I played with him when we first came out. We went through that game pretty fast on hard. Cause he's fucking if I'm good at the game, he's the master. He's way better than I am.
He's the guru.
yeah. So
I played it. I played it on the. I mean, my motto is you either go hard or go home. I didn't want to set myself up for failure, so I went because there's like 4 different levels of difficulty. I went to the 3rd highest.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Which to me, I was gonna try and do it 2 times around.
Yeah.
But I never got a chance to do that. Unfortunately, I'm grateful that I got 1 time around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I forgot the level of difficulty that it actually was. It's been a little bit since I played it.
So it's very easy, normal, hard, and then extreme.
Or mayhem. I thought it was mayhem.
Yeah, mayhem and then extreme or something like that.
You know, I think I played mayhem. I'll be honest with you, just because it sounded cool.
How many lives you started with?
I started with 1 life. That was the first one.
You started off. So you only started off with 1 life.
Yeah, but when you die, you have the option of what you call it, adding an attribute to it. It gives you an extra special, and it gives you 3 extra lives. And I'm not gonna lie, I used that every opportunity that I could.
Yeah.
Because there is no way that I would have gotten through that game without the extra lives. Now, granted, with those extra lives, for certain stages, I barely even used them.
Yeah.
But if we were playing in a game of points, like you unlock more stuff as the scores go by. You know, you're supposed to upgrade. You're supposed to do this. I never upgraded at any point in time.
Yeah.
Because I would get through it. I would get my points, but I would never reach the mark that would label that and give you that. You know what I mean? So, some levels were crazy, man. Like I was just talking about the patterns before, but I didn't really continue it. But as the levels go by, you know, you get introduced to certain characters, like the bad guys and stuff like that. You know, the beat 'em ups.
Yeah.
That's what I like to call them because this is what it is. You know what I mean? You know, and then they start coming in more and more, and then meshing together and stuff like that. And you have to figure out the pattern of how to beat them and orchestrate it around them. As time went by, I think, you know, there was some really easy ones that I went up against. The one with the guy with the high leg that reminded me of Vega.
Yeah.
From Street Fighter. He was a tough one, and the fat guy that fucking kept rolling around and belly flopping.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he pissed me off so much because I would be fighting, and then all of a sudden, one of the fat guys can roll back and forth.
Yep.
And so I'm trying to dodge the roll back and forth, picking up that pattern while this motherfucker's belly flopping on me. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Each stage, each boss, I thought was pretty cool. Like you had to figure it out a little bit. As time went by, I got more accustomed to only using my stars, which are your special attacks.
Yeah.
For them, I never, you know, in the beginning, I was using them and realizing like, hey, there is no way I'm going to beat this boss without having as many stars as I possibly can.
Yeah. You
know what I mean? And you know, as it progressed, like the bosses, so it would be easy, like really difficult, then it was like easy again, and then easy again, and then it'd be like, fuck, it took me like 10 tries to beat this one dude. You know what I mean? But overall, I think the I think the gameplay, it really shows like the classic Streets of Rage. The only thing that was different was just the upgraded graphics. It
Yeah.
was literally basically the same exact game.
Yeah, that company is really good with just the remastering thing. I'm excited because they're doing the Ninja Turtle Shredder's Revenge.
Okay.
That company is
Which
doing
we
that.
we have to play that.
Yeah.
Because
So-
me and you've played every Ninja Turtle game except for
Yeah.
the GameCube one, which I have, and
Yeah.
I have a GameCube.
Yeah.
And the hard ass Manhattan one, right?
There's also a PS4 one that came out, which I gotta get my hands on. It's a little pricey, surprisingly, on eBay right now.
But isn't that like a Tall Tale or something?
No. It's by Platinum Games, so it's like a very high.
Didn't
combo.
PS4 drop like a Tall Tale of them?
A Telltale game? No, they did not
Yeah,
get a
Telltale.
I wish they did. That would have been
I'm
awesome.
pretty sure they.
No,
I'm
they
pretty
did
sure
not.
They did.
They didn't. You know what? The graphics, I could see the graphics being very similar to a Telltale game,
Okay.
but it was Platinum Games did it. They also did like a Battle Wise like Transformer game too. It was very similar to gameplay. If anything, if we could find a copy of two copies of those, because we both need a copy, we could probably do a stream of that. Like
Yeah,
online.
I mean that will be for our Shell Shock cast.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
So
Also, it could be a joint one with this as well. You know what I mean?
no, it could
You-
be a Gamer Rage, Shell Shock streaming night, and we could just do the stream and actually do a live podcast
Well,
while we're doing that.
Eventually, for our Shell Shock, we're gonna have to go through all the games anyway.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
So,
Which we've
I'm
already had
excited for it.
fun, and yeah,
Besides
bro,
first
we've you know that's an easy night for us.
Besides that first one, fuck that first one.
Yeah, but you know I've never beat that one, so
I
it's like
have.
I have to do it.
I have, and that
to
game
do it.
is unforgiving.
Man,
I have it.
I
It's
know
unforgiving.
we're so off topic with the whole turtle talk
Yeah.
right now,
No,
but
well,
like
but-
that game, it pertains to
Yeah.
our cast right
Yeah.
now. But that game, literally the first sewer, when I was a kid, I was so mad, bro. It's like the little rats running around,
Yeah.
and you're sitting there, you go through it, you get to the top, and there's no way out. I'm sitting there like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? But never mind the turtles. Let me get back
Yes.
to my challenge.
But yeah,
Um,
I'm excited for Streets of Rage because the Streets of Rage 4, the people that did Streets of Rage 4, they're also behind the Scott Pilgrim versus the World game, and they also are are the ones doing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. Scott Pilgrim you might like. I'll say take a dab at it when it's cheap on the Switch store. You might like that game. You like the
Scott
movie, so you would
Pilgrim
like the
Saves
game.
the World. Well, you know, it was a graphic novel before it all, right?
Yeah, but you know it from the movie, right?
Yeah, no, I've read some of the graphic novel before the movie came out.
Yeah.
But I do like Michael Cera, and I did enjoy that movie.
Yeah,
So,
so you might actually like the game. I have it, but I don't have it a physical copy of it. So that'll be something like that. But I actually think you may want to visit that because I think you will like that game. It's
Hey,
very
listen, man.
River City Ransom more than the Streets of Rage though.
Okay.
So there's.
I mean,
like, stories
I'm
and
always
stuff.
down to try and experience as much. I'm a collector as
Yeah.
much as I would. I wish I was more hands-on playing.
Yeah.
It's just I don't have the time, you know. So I have to pick and choose my battles. I collect like a motherfucker though.
Yeah.
I yeah, shouts out to Game On, which is always a shout out
Yeah.
on all of our podcasts. It's like a second home to me. Which Tristan's probably mad at me because he has the Warriors sitting in the drawer since my
This
birthday.
motherfucker.
So when I walk in there, he's gonna
Yeah.
be like, "Yo, you're gonna fucking buy this game or what?"
Yeah, just go pick
But-
it up. It's a good game.
So
too.
back to the Streets of Rage,
Yeah.
Streets of Rage 4. Patterns, it was easy to pick up. It started getting a little hard for me as the levels went on because it was just a clusterfuck. Like I feel like the game is probably better with a couple of people.
It's
you know what I mean?
made
Like,
for is made for multiplayer. Yes.
You know what I mean? Like it's, but that's the story of all the Streets of Rage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Streets of Rage has always been fun with multiple people because you're like, oh, look out for that one. Oh, I got that one. Oh, that was a good hit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just standard balls to the wall fun.
Yeah.
So the last level, oh my god, bro! this level drove me crazy. Crazy, because when you think you're getting to the end, it's like you only just begun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And those dudes that shot the guns, those fucking Italian guys,
Yeah.
in the suits, and then I'm fighting the Vega
They
dude
look like
at
Bubbles.
the same time. Yeah, I'm like, they actually look like
Bubbles from Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, well, I actually
Lieutenant
never seen
Bubbles.
Lilo and Stitch, to be honest with
He's
you.
the security the CIA agent that's trying to go after them.
These just look like boxed out, like, like gangsters. You know what I mean? But like they were annoying. But as time went by, I got really nice into the flow of the game. So it's like I would use not use my special, but use my power punches.
Yeah.
With dives and stuff like that. Like for like half the game, I didn't even dive once.
Yeah.
I was just fighting.
Yep.
And I was like, holy shit, I can, why don't I play it like I played the old games? Like I was playing too frigid. I didn't want to be a button pusher.
Yeah.
But button pushing actually kind of works in this game.
Yeah.
But the last level, hands down, was treacherous. When you went up against a brother and sister at the end of the game, it's just like I wasted all my stars on the first one. Before I even got done with the second one, to the point that you're dealing with ninjas dropping down and you're dealing with a whole bunch of stuff. But eventually I ended up finishing the game. I'm very happy because Streets of Rage is a childhood memory of mine. You know what I mean? I have very fond memories of playing that as a kid. I'm so happy I have the Simpsons hacked version of the original one.
Yeah.
Shouts out to Game On for that one. But overall, man, I thank you for that. And it felt good to play a game and finish it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know I ranted on a little bit.
No, let's go. My game was Shadow of the Empire for N64.
And let me tell everybody out there right now, this was one of my favorite N64 games growing up. I loved this game, and I'm happy that you chose this game.
Have you played the game recently?
Yeah, with an aftermarket remote, and I couldn't get past the first board.
This game, honestly, I'll say my only wish for this game is if it got a full remaster. If they fixed the controls, they fixed everything like that, because this game would have been a lot more enjoyable. I wish I enjoyed it more than I thought that I remember, because I remember playing this for the first time back in the day, and I enjoyed it. I finished it. I finished it again for our challenge, and I couldn't stand the game. I couldn't stand the game. I thought the controls were terrible. I hated the tank.
It was very sensitive. Very sensitive.
It was like very tank heavy. Like I felt like I was driving a tank, and that's how I felt the controls on this character. And my control is actually really good and really responsive for N64. But
I sort of felt like the controls had a little bit of a Doom kind of feel to it.
Doom, if he was a tank.
If he was a tank. I mean, I just have so many fond memories of playing that game.
You know how I felt controlling that character? You remember in Halo when you drove the big
No,
ass
I
Scorpion?
don't, because I hate Halo, and I don't.
All right.
I can't stand Halo.
So what's another example? In GTA, when you drove the fucking tank, remember how hard, annoying it was to drive?
Yeah, because everything would blow everything up, and you can't move anywhere.
That's exactly how I felt with this fucking character. It's just very stiff, very slow, very stiff, and stuff like that. Other than that, the storyline is actually really good. I remember actually reading the book off of this, and it was actually a really good storyline. So if you never read the book from Dark Horse Comics, definitely check out the book. It was actually really good. They did a really good job in telling the story throughout the video game, so I'll give that credit. My only big issue with this game was the gameplay, because honestly, it's very dated. It's extremely dated. And honestly, I think this game has potential to be a remaster and be really good. So I give hope that one day they'll be like, hey, let's remaster this game. Because they did a couple already. If you look on the Switch market, you have the Republic Commandos, the Stormtrooper first-person game. And that's actually really good. So I'm hoping they do that with this game, because it has a good storyline. It has a good level.
It was like a little movie. You know what I mean? It was cool.
It had a good level design. It had, for its time, it had good level design. It had a good change of pace for certain levels. So I give credit to that. But again, the controller was just very unpleasant and throughout this whole game, and throughout trying to finish this game, especially the last two levels, they were bitch. So to do it with this controller
Unfortunately,
was
you
good.
weren't playing with an N64 controller.
Actually, but my controller is very responsive, so I never
It's not
had.
about that.
Yeah,
It's not about that. You know what I mean? And I'm not even talking about an aftermarket remote. I'm
yeah,
talking about the legit old school, the one that comes with the game.
yeah,
It does flow better with the joystick, the one thumb. It really does. It doesn't do it with an aftermarket. Like I said, like the first board, I couldn't jump over the first canyon. You literally walk out the ship.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And you got to jump over a canyon. And I died 50 times before I even jumped over a canyon with an aftermarket remote.
yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, do not buy and put money into aftermarket stuff. If you want to play retro video games, buy the authentic
Yeah.
controllers.
Except for the one
You
I
would-
bought.
Logitech, I have a bunch of Logitech controllers.
Mine is
They're not good. No, but this is old school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is back in the
Yeah.
day. I have a bunch of those. They are horrible.
Mhm.
You need the exact remote in order to get the response that you need.
Yeah.
But continue.
I did finish the game. I did enjoy the storyline. I thought the storyline was a fun storyline. Again, if it could be remastered, I'll 100% play it if it gets remastered and the controls get tweaked. Other than that, I finished it. I will not go back to play that cartridge
Is there
game again.
is there any certain things that you enjoyed? Because I remember two things specifically. The dog fight when you're taking down the
The dogfight was
and
cool. The dogfight was cool. It kind of reminded me of
that
like,
was
Call of
that was
shit.
Star Fox.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was that feel. And
Um,
then the train board, the train one. And if you guys tune into our Not a Trekkie podcast, that reminded me of Solo.
Yes, it did.
That train, it really did.
You know what's funny?
100%.
You know what's funny is because we did the solo cast before this, and you mentioned that on the solo cast. So when I got to that stage, I thought about our cast.
But it was perfect, right?
Yeah, it was on to.
and that was old school memory. I haven't even been up
Yeah.
to that point since I was 12 years old.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I enjoyed those stages. The final stage was a little bitch. It was kind of annoying, but other than that, like the game itself, like the game as a storyline, as for that time, I think it was good. Like the storyline kept me interested because I did like the storyline, but the gameplay, what I'll say is 100%. The gameplay needs to be tweaked, and honestly, if it could get a remaster and revisit it, I think it would be a great seller too. So
I think so as well, because when you told me that at work,
yeah,
I completely agree with you. And it would be amazing for a PS5 release.
a PS5 or PS4, PS5, whatever.
Well,
As long
PS5
as you-
and the new Xbox would
As long
be
as you
fucking
fix
awesome.
the controllers, that's all I fucking need. Like honestly, if the controls were a bit more fluent when I was playing it, I think I would enjoy it more. And then my controller that I have is very responsive because in No Mercy that shit worked perfectly. Fucking Mario, that shit worked perfectly. So I was like,
Well,
all right,
I'm going to put it like this. With the aftermarket remote playing No Mercy, it was flawless. There was nothing wrong with it.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I
So
tried.
when it was,
So
so
I have
I take your word for
Yeah.
it. I do. I take your word for it. But in difficult games,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
because
you
I have.
need even GoldenEye. You play GoldenEye with an
Yeah.
aftermarket remote. It's not the same because you can't aim properly.
So I have a Nintendo official N64 controller because I bought it in New York, Video Games New York, because the one I got it from Game On wasn't. So I bought one and I tried both controllers and I had the same response.
Yeah.
So that was my only reason why I know that my controller is responsive, is the fact that I tried the original one first and then go into that. Again, if you are a 64 person, if you're actually collecting for 64, this is probably maybe the top 10 games on 64. I'll say that. Has a really good storyline. If you're a fan of Star Wars and like, it has more. Surprisingly, it has a dark toll to the storyline. I would recommend playing this. Will I play the N64 version again? No, because the tank controls really frustrated me, and I wanted to headbutt the game.
Well, I'm happy that at least you got to play.
But if it was remastered and the controls were tightened and put more fluently, I'll 100% play it again.
A remastered would be phenomenal.
So-
and I do feel like there are ears out there that hear us
Mm-hmm.
and that follow our casts,
Yeah.
because there has been numerous things that we've said in our other podcasts,
Especially the Morphin Cast.
especially the Morphin
'Cause
Cast
I
that has come to fruition.
I remember 100% in Morphin Cast, we said there should be a 2-pack of Astronema and Ecliptor.
Yes.
And
So
there's
that a
one
long
coming.
time ago.
Yeah, we said that like
A long time ago.
The beginning of Lightning Collection. So, yes.
And oh my God, I can't stand right now Hasbro. I'm so mad at
We'll
them.
get into that on Morphin Cast.
Yes.
I have a lot to say.
But
to them.
that was the challenge.
The challenge. I was happy with the challenge. I enjoyed the game. I had issues with the controllers and stuff like that. I had issues like keeping into the game, but then again, because I feel like it's really dated. But other than that, it was a good game. I recommend play if you're a 64 person. If you're into 64 and you like the old school feel of the N64, you will like this game. If
A Star
you're-
Wars fan,
yeah.
anything.
Yeah,
You know
exactly.
what I mean?
And it's a good
it can go.
storyline.
Well, I'm happy you enjoyed at least that.
Yeah.
It's not Sonic Spinball now. You know what I mean?
Fuck Sonic Spin. I think that was the worst game you gave me was Sonic Spin.
Well, that was the first game that I gave you.
Yeah.
Because I spent many hours on that damn game, and I hated it just as much as you did. I just didn't want the world to know that.
Yeah. So I should give you that as a challenge now.
What, Sonic Spinball?
Yeah.
I don't have it, and I don't want to play it, so it's okay.
I have it. I have it on.
I beat it. I
Sega.
beat it in the past, bro. I'm not worried about that stuff. I'm on bigger and better
You gotta
things.
beat it beat it in the future. I could care
The
less.
younger,
You beat it in the past.
the younger me was more fluid than the older man.
The older man is just grumpy.
Yeah, he's the disgruntled pizza.
He's the disgruntled. All right. So we usually go to we highlight a system that of our choice. We are going to pick the Sega Genesis this week. So the first episode of the Gamer Rage podcast, we kind of we highlighted the Sega Genesis, but we didn't go really into the Sega Genesis. And I feel like this is one that we should actually have a full episode for. Reason why is because it's one of my first, like, my own consoles was Sega Genesis.
It is the most played game that I've played at other people's houses. And I've said that numerous times throughout our cast.
Yeah.
I said it on the first cast. I'm going to say it now. I didn't have stuff growing up. I did have a Nintendo.
Yeah.
I did. But it was more of my stepfather's than it was mine.
Yeah.
So when I played it, it was like a privilege to play it. Like I had to earn to play it. When I went to my cousin's house, which I've visited frequently, they had like probably every different version of the Sega Genesis. They had the big fat one with the lever that you push up. Then they had the push one. You know what I mean? Like they had that. So all my fond memories of Sega Genesis is most likely coming from there. It was a fun time of my youth.
All right.
And believe it or not, we didn't even really play it like that. We were too busy being kids outside, not wanting to be inside.
Yeah.
But when I was sleeping over, my aunt would go to bed and we would stay up all night playing, which was your challenge for the last cast, which was Arrow the Acrobat. We would play stuff like that.
Yeah.
We would play Sonic to the point that I can tell you right now for Sonic and Tails the code to get to the last board. That is embedded in my memory bank forever.
Yeah.
That will never disappear, and I'll talk about that later when we showcase the games.
All right. So Sega Genesis, I'll give you a rundown of when it came out and all that stuff. So Sega Genesis, Sega Mega Drive, and other places is Sega Genesis over here.
Now Sega, that was the first console of Sega.
Second.
There wasn't anything. The second,
because the Sega Master System is the first.
Okay, and that was the beginning of the Sega generation.
Yes, because
Because I don't know anything about Sega
so
Master.
Sega Master System came out like around Nintendo, maybe a little after Nintendo
Like
NES.
85, like
Yeah,
85.
84, 85, yeah.
Because Mario came out in 85.
84.
So, no, 85.
85.
I know for a fact. I know for a fact Mario came out.
Well, NES came out 84.
Yeah,
Mario
NES came out in 84. So
yeah.
Sega was probably around the
85.
same time.
Yeah, because Genesis.
I have a shirt. I have a shirt that says Super since 85.
Yeah. So Sega Genesis came out in North America August 14th, 1989. Japan was October 29th, 1988. And everywhere, I'm not going to tell you like that. The lifespan of Sega Genesis was 1988 to 1997.
Ooh, that's
and then
good
till this
span,
day,
man.
and then actually to this day, still people still make custom games for Sega Genesis, so you can still
Still
find
to
them.
this day, it's probably one of the highest selling consoles out there. People want to relive their past. You know what I mean? That epic reset button that always froze and got stuck.
Yeah.
Everybody had to deal with that shit.
Yeah. So Sega Genesis, again, I this was the first console that was actually mine. I was I was given it from my mom's ex-boyfriend, and he gave me the system, and I kept it from there. It was the original system. This is the one that actually had the headphone jack, so you actually could plug in your headphones and play the game and hear it through the system. So this is how you was able to sneak and play at night without getting in trouble. You put the headphones in the damn jack. This is the original one. Also came out with 3-button controller. Later on, they changed it to the 6-button controller because a lot of the fighting games and stuff like that started inputting the 6 buttons and everything like that. Yeah, I remember this console fondly because I'm a big Sega mark. I always love Sega Genesis stuff. I love Sega itself. I love Sega as a company. Always was a big Sonic fan. I'm into Yakuza games. I love Jet Set Radio.
Oh, you love Yakuza. Yeah. You love Yakuza.
I was big into Dreamcast. I was big into the not really Sega Saturn. I didn't really care for Sega Saturn, but Dreamcast was one of my favorite consoles. So Sega always have a big place in my heart because I think a lot of their games just had style. It had music. It had style. It had a lot of things that a lot of other companies weren't doing. It's like Streets of Rage itself, like the soundtrack is fucking dope. Like to this day, like I actually have the original soundtracks on my fucking phone that I listen to.
I can literally right now mimic probably every board of Sonic's music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I felt like that was probably the most iconic of the music.
Yeah.
Probably the most recognizable.
Streets of Rage, I'd say Sonic 2, Sonic 1, Sonic 3.
Sonic and Tails.
Because Sonic 3, I know Sonic 3 was produced by Michael Jackson. I wasn't even really
savvy with Sonic 3. I think I played Sonic 3 more on the Game Gear than I did the Sonic.
Funny thing with Sonic 3, Michael Jackson produced the music in Sonic 3.
That's awesome to know that.
In a fake name. He did it in a fake name, but he did produce the music of Sonic 3.
That's awesome. I mean, I'm an obsessed Michael Jackson fan.
Now
so
you gotta play Sonic 3.
Now I have to play. I guess that might have to be a challenge one of these days because I never beat that game ever.
Okay. So one thing about Sega Genesis that I always had better than Super Nintendo, and that's something that it was the sound like music wise, the sound effect wise. Sega had a better sound system for it, and a lot of the games show for that, especially the Sega mainstay games like Sonic, Streets of Rage, Golden Axe, Shinobi. They always all had good soundtracks, and that's something I always liked about Sega. I always thought Sega was cool because of that. I liked the Black Slim system. I liked the one. I think the headphone jack one is the one that I hold to my heart because that was the first one I had. I didn't really care about. Never really cared about the other designs besides the Nomad. I liked the Nomad because you was able to put a Sega Genesis cartridge and take it with you. But other than that, I was not fond of the Sega Genesis Part 2. Wasn't fond of the Sega Genesis 3. They just looked generically weird in the system. And
then you're not wrong about that. The only thing is with 3 is that you had different things that you can add on to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It turned into a transformer after a while.
The
You know
original
what I mean?
one. So the original one started that. Like, so you was able to put the
I'm
Sega
talking about
CD.
the big fat one with the brown side, like the fat one in the original one. That was my favorite one.
Yeah,
Not the one where you push down the button, the one you push up the button.
it was a click.
That was my favorite one.
So the Sega Genesis was a
You
click.
could throw that bastard against a wall right now and nothing would happen to it.
So
You
the
know what I
original
mean?
Sega Genesis had a button. It had a switch. It wasn't a
A
button.
lever that went up.
No, clip. Yeah, it was. It went to the side. So the Sega Genesis, when Sega CD came out, Sega CD was a bottom part. So remember, I was telling you, like, I know Game On has the whole set of the Sega Genesis 2 with Sega CD and 32X, and which made it like a side, but it had a head. So when you actually did it with the original Genesis, you had with the original Sega CD, it was like a bottom part that went on top, and then Sega Genesis went on top, and then the 32X. So it made it look like a fucking Megatron, a Megazord.
Yeah, it looked like a transformer.
Yeah.
Literally, that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah. And then you had those add-ons. Sega Gen CD added some layers to the games. They weren't that, honestly, if you actually really look at the library games, they weren't that great. But
I never actually
gems.
played a Sega CD game. I've never played a Sega
I
CD
played
game, ever.
3. I played After Party. No, not After Party. What was it called? It was like one of those cinematic adventure games. It was like it was way beyond my age because there was a lot of like titties and shit like that. But I played that, and then I played Sonic CD, and I played Steel Cage WWF game.
The WWF games were tough for me. They were not good at all. It was just like the arcade versions. I think hold more into my heart of that time frame. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, like Sega CD, I never played that. 32X. The only game that I remember like hardcore playing was Doom.
Doom was I think that was the highlight of 32X and Knuckles Chaos.
I mean, what did the 32X really provide for? Did it give better graphics? Did it do?
So
it just looked like a fucking thing that you popped in the center that actually sometimes destroyed the console itself.
Yeah, because
I know people who've had like my mom used to babysit this guy named Billy, this kid Billy, and we would play. That's where I would play Doom at his house.
Yeah,
and he broke the thing by taking out the 32X out of the console itself. You know what I mean? Like, it messed it up. So, like, I felt like that was, as much as I would like to praise the 32X because it was supposed to be that advanced step up of Sega.
Yeah.
It actually did more damage and flopped. It was one of our flopped.
Yeah, it was. So I played maybe 3 or 4 games on the 32X. And I remember actually getting it when it first came out. That was a waste of fucking money. We were getting it first came out because I still had the old Sega Genesis console. So if you had the old one with the switch and the headphone jack, you had to put a metal piece inside the cartridge area in order for the 32X to work. Me being young, I did not know that. So me trying to force that shit in, and then at the time we don't have YouTube, we don't have shit like that. I called the Sega hotline, and they told me we need a metal bracket. They sent me the metal bracket, so I had to wait like a month to get this metal bracket in order to fucking touch that 32X, which I paid almost $200 for. So that was my story with the 32X. So fuck that system. Other than that,
my only story with 32X was Doom, and honestly, the Doom for Super Nintendo is bad. I have it. It's bad. The 32X is far superior when it comes to Doom, and that's all I can really talk about. You know what I mean? I don't know anything else.
So 32X was supposed to boost the system to run 32-bit games. Did you really see it? Maybe Doom was the only one that you really saw it. Other than that, any other game just played regularly, just maybe with
because Doom wasn't a regular console game though,
no,
right?
It's not, because that was big on PC and stuff like that. So that was the first time.
Yeah, Quake was the original version. Quake was the first.
But Doom hit PC first before it went to console.
Yeah, and it was Quake, Doom, and then Duke Nukem, which is the whole.
But it's not the same
world
people.
of that. I understand it's not the
Yeah.
same people and
Yeah.
same anything, but that is the same concept of the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I remember playing Knuckles Chaos on 32X, and I did not like the game. I didn't really care for it. It didn't really do much different than what regular Sonic 3 did. It also didn't do much different than what Sonic CD. Sonic CD was a lot prettier than Knuckles Chaos. I remember playing a Spider-Man game for it, which was fucking terrible. And
I think Game On actually has it. I think that's probably their least sold games at Game On. You know what I mean? Like, I remember going there when Game On first opened up, which I was still wowed about. I'm like, yes, finally a place for me. And you can go there right now and still see the same game sitting there because nobody really buys that. Nobody really wants that.
It sucked.
But you know, me being the collector that I am, I want it.
Unless I challenge you to that game.
Well, yeah, that's neither here or there.
Yeah.
I mean, my ultimate goal is to have the Megatron of it. You know what I mean? Like when I get my own spot and I have, I can have a dedicated room or my living room set up. Like I always see, and I always go to this one thing that I big cubbies for every single console, and I wouldn't put just one Sega in there. It would be the entire thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you need it all. You need it all for the works. But when I was growing up playing this stuff, I just had the regular old school one. It was just fun. It was a late night thing. It was I'm bored. My cousins is at camp, but my mom needs my aunt to babysit me. God rest my aunt's soul and everything like that. And for my mom's as well as, but I would just sit there. I would just sit there and play. It's just when I was a kid, my attention span was focused on one or the other. It's like I was hanging out, rocking out with this one console, and that was it. They didn't have any other ones. They didn't have the Nintendo. They didn't have anything else. So my cousins will always be like my go-to when I talk about the Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
And I have very fond memories of nights playing like the Jurassic Park game.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Jurassic
Park game was fucking awesome.
I remember the commercial more than the game itself. I remember the commercial going Sega with the fucking T-Rex.
Sega.
Yeah.
The Sega bit the fucking T-Rex bit the Sega thing off. Yeah, I remember it. That's not a blast from the past, man. Anybody's listening that remembers that, just give us a like right now.
Hey, Mike,
please.
If you hear this cast, if you listen to it while you're editing, please put the Sega before the cast.
Please.
That'd be great.
Thanks, buddy.
So, the thing about Sega Genesis there's a lot of games that most people probably didn't like or don't like. I have a list of games that I remember me playing a lot. And it's usually a list of that's a little different than everyone else's because I have my taste was.
Is this your top 5?
I think I'm gonna have to do 10.
10.
Because there's a lot of games.
I could probably do like 8. I could probably be in the 8
So
range,
you don't have to do the full 10. I have 10. I have 10 directly that I know from the mind. I'm not gonna put them in a particular order besides number 1. Number 1 will be Sonic 2. Sonic 2 was by far my favorite Sonic game. To this day, it's still highly regarded my favorite Sonic game.
Listen, if you are playing that game right now, if you're playing that game right now in the old school console, go to options, go to sound, type in 19, hit A, hit 65, A, hit 9, A, and 17. You actually hear the sounds of the game, right? While you're doing it. Press A and C at the same time, and you will get transported to the last Robotnik.
There you go.
I promise you. 1965, 917. I will never forget that. I want that on my fucking tombstone, bro.
Get on your tattoo.
Hell yeah, right? Your tattooed, like.
Yeah. Sonic 2 is by far my favorite game. Like I to this day.
I think I played a very long amount of time and a lot of hours on that game. Equally with that game, because I agree. I think that's probably like a number 1 spot.
Yeah.
Like for me, and like probably just for kids in our generation as well. But then right after that for me would be like it would be like Mortal Kombat. You know what I mean? It would be like I enjoyed the Mortal Kombat 1, but I like Mortal Kombat 2 because I was more focused on trying to have 50 wins in a row so I
Yeah.
can get Smoke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I never beat Smoke ever in my life. I've never beat him. It took
So
us forever to get to him, and we would just
Yeah.
be like, it was like, all right, this is getting fucking boring. You know
Mortal
what I mean?
Kombat's on my list. Mortal Kombat 2 is on my list, but it's not on my top. Right? It's towards.
Well,
like,
no, that's not my
end of the
top, but
Yeah,
that brings me
yeah.
to that
No,
time with my
100%.
cousin.
I remember Sega Genesis also did have the better Mortal Kombat because we had blood.
Yeah, no, it was
Super Nintendo
it
did
was
not
cool.
have blood. They had.
I mean, yo,
sweat.
bro, as a kid looking at Mortal Kombat and their fatalities alone
Yeah.
was awesome. And then when they ushered in like the friendship
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and like you see Johnny Cage, or you know, he kills them and then leaves a burning,
Yeah.
you know, which transpired into the movie, which I
Yeah.
thought was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Or like Luke Cage, not what you call it, I mean, what my brain's going blank right now.
Who? What he looked like?
I mean the main guy, fucking oh fuck, why don't I know his name? It's really I apologize to everybody that's listening right now, but how the fuck did I don't know? It's the
You talking about
main good
Liu
guy.
Kang.
Yeah,
You're
Luke
right.
Kang, yeah. No, I said Cage.
The
by
dude with
accident.
the dude with the bicycle.
I
kid,
know who
right?
Liu Kang is. Yes, Liu Kang. His friendship was hilarious because he would fucking kill them. I think he would rip the spine out and then do a little tap dance.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was just so cool.
Yeah.
And it took me and my friends forever to figure that out. You needed the Sega magazine
Yeah.
in order to even know that stuff.
Shit, you needed like yeah. Man, remember buying chips? What was it? Tips and Tricks was a magazine full of just cheat
yeah,
codes.
Yeah, it was cheat codes, and it was just advertisements. It was
Yeah.
nothing but advertisements and cheat codes. It was like Game Enforcer,
Yeah.
sort of, for back in the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just
Tips and Tricks. I will say Streets of Rage. Talking about Streets of Rage as your challenge and everything. Streets of Rage 2 was my second favorite. I think the soundtrack in that was fantastic. The gameplay got perfect, and I think it was better than the first. 3 wasn't good, but I still have a lot of love for Part 1. But Part 2 was just so far.
I feel like we should just keep rolling off the 1 and 1. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
go and I go.
Go ahead.
Right after that, and I've stated this in our honorable mentions, the games that paved the way in one of our previous casts, which is Road Rash. Like Road Rash, I put, and for lack of a better term, I put many miles on that game. Road Rash, I had so much fun doing. That game does not get old whatsoever. You can play that right now, and it's still fun as fuck. It's so much fun.
Road Rage is in my list.
It's like Rad Racer, but in motorcycle.
Yeah.
But you get to fucking smack motherfuckers.
Yep.
And you get chased by cops, and you get to upgrade your bike, and you own money, and you do this. It was just fun. It was so good. Once it went to I think PlayStation.
Yeah.
PlayStation, that's when it started. Like
it
I
wasn't as good.
stopped caring about
I think
that.
Road Rash 2
But, like,
was the best one.
Road Rash 2 by far is probably the best one. Road Rash 3 is good. Don't get me wrong, it's good. But Road Rash 2, I think it was just to the max. You know what I mean? And shouts out to the max.
My third one, I have to give shout outs. So if I mention the game, I'm gonna include the whole shebang of the game. So like Sonic 2 is my highlighted one, but I want to put Sonic and Sonic 3 together as well, and Sonic and Knuckles, because I don't feel like adding. Actually, you know what? Fuck it, whatever. So it would be my third one. My third one will be So I love the Shinobi games, but the one that I think was one of my favorites was
I actually never played the Shinobi games.
The one that was my favorite was Shadow Dancer. Shadow Dancer was the one that had a dog that you should be able to stick on people, and it played just like Shinobi but with a dog. I love that game. That game was one of my favorites. It had an awesome soundtrack.
Well, I'm gonna have to dive down into that one day.
Yeah.
And try and check it out. But to do a third one. Now this is not in a particular order.
Yeah.
I felt like I feel like Road Rash and Sonic were probably like the hub for me growing up. But this was one of your challenges that I gave you. Is one of the games that I played a lot, which was Arrow the Acrobat. Arrow the Acrobat was so much fun to me. I know that it was tedious to you.
Yeah.
When you were playing it, because now we're many years later, and the advancement in video games and everything like that obviously doesn't seem attractive, but as a kid at this time, it actually was a pretty fun game. It was very frustrating if you fell and you had to start all over again. It was very frustrating, but for some reason Arrow the Acrobat will always weigh some type of weight in my heart. I just love that game. I played it so many times at my cousin's house.
Yeah.
So I would say Arrow the Acrobat's up in there.
So my number 4, this one actually was a really fun game. It's on the collections. If you have the Sega collections and stuff like that, you can actually play it. It is actually, you know what? Before this game, I had to put one because you actually gifted me this game, and it's like one of my favorites, and it's also involving Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Hyperstorm Heights.
I'm very happy that you was as excited as I was to give you that gift. I remember giving it to you in the face. He looked like a kid on Christmas, guys.
Yeah,
he really did. He really did. He didn't expect that coming.
So at the time when this came out, is the fact that I did not have a Super Nintendo, so I was not playing Turtles in Time and stuff like that. The only time I played Turtles in Time was the arcade. So this is the one I had. It was Hyperstorm Heights, and I remember beating that game quite a few times. I even remember usually loving the game, and us playing it when you first got it for me. It was just a fun game. We played fun.
It was literally like Turtles in Time, but I feel like Turtles in Time was a better game.
Turtles in Time was a better game. I feel like this was a harder game.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, because what it did was it made you refight bosses all the time, and like when we got to the final level, we fought like all 6 bosses, and then fought Shredder too. So it was like it was a little bit harder. But I did love that game. I do love the graphics, and I actually feel like the soundtrack of Hyperstorm Heights is really good. So definitely, and honestly, if you listen to the beginning of the Oz Shell Shack podcast, that is a clip from Hyperstorm Heights.
It definitely is. I'm a roll right into the Madden games, bro. You know what I mean? Like Madden. This is where it began. You know what I mean? This is
it was actually exclusive to Sega Genesis in the first couple of games.
It was that serious as a kid. Like I remember going to friends' houses and like people fighting over this game. You know what I mean? This game was I can't say it was ahead of its time because it was right where it needed to be at the right time. You know what I mean? Like, but the whole. So when I say Madden, I'm going to say the whole processor of how these games are played, like the NHL games. You know, like NHL was just as good as the Madden games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the same format. It's the same feel.
Yeah.
So like that will EA Sports, right? EA Sports made this.
Yeah.
So like hands down, when it comes to sports games, this is the Mount Rushmore. This is George Washington.
Yeah. Of
Mount Rushmores, the Madden and the NHL, like Madden 94, Madden 95, NHL 96. You know what I mean? Like NHL 96 is probably one of the greatest hockey games ever. Still to this day, you can play that right now, and it's just fun. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just so cool. It was always a good time. It was fun to play by yourself, but it was better to play against somebody. Yeah. So you had bragging rights. You know what I mean? This was probably the first competitive sport games besides like the RBI games for for Nintendo. Nintendo had the RBI, and they also had
Major League Baseball.
They had Major League Baseball. They had the Bulls versus the Pistons.
No, that was Sega Genesis.
I'm pretty sure they came out with one for Sega.
Sega Genesis.
Or was that Charles Barkley? That was a Charles Barkley game.
Shut Up and Jam.
Something like that. But I mean, and another game I'll say further on ties back down into the sports world, which is probably one of the most funnest free for all games ever. You know what I mean? But go ahead.
Seeing that you go into the sports ones, my number 5 would be a sport one as well. Be NBA Jam.
Yep, that was exactly what I was talking about right there.
I've played.
The net is on
I played
fire.
so much NBA Jam. As in, you remember when Blockbuster did the game tournaments? I won
Yeah,
for
I
NBA
do
Jam
remember
Tournament
that.
Edition.
See, the Blockbuster by my house used to get pissed off at people
Yeah,
because we would go in there and be crowds in there, and nobody would ever really even get to play.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It would just be a couple people just, it was weird. It's just like my mother would drop me off, and then I would hang out there for a little bit, and then I would end up like ordering a poster
yeah.
instead of actually playing the game because it was like I don't know. I lived in a weird town. It was weird. But NBA Jam is
Yeah.
probably a game that I feel like they should remaster nowadays too.
Yeah, but if they have to remaster it, they have to do it with the current roster. Because
Well, yeah, it would be dope to play with LeBron James. Like
yeah.
back in the
I think
NBA,
they did, and it just
NBA
didn't,
Jams, you didn't play against Michael Jordan.
yeah, because he didn't have they couldn't they had to pay him a lot of money for
What
him.
what
to
was what was
feature
your
in the game.
team? What was your team that you played with?
At
I
that,
always played with the Spurs because of David Robinson
I think I played with the Phoenix Suns because it had KJ and Charles
and
Barkley.
Charles Barkley.
And Charles Barkley was actually really good in that game.
No, he definitely was.
Or I played.
I
as
mean,
the
he was a
Bulls.
really good basketball player in general. So.
Or I played in the Bulls, and which I think it was Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant.
Okay.
And this is the first NBA Jam, not Tournament Edition. Tournament Edition, they had an additional person.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean.
But I loved NBA Jam, and that would be number 5.
For me, going in next would be I mean, it was one of the games that I had you actually play, which was Comic Zone. Comic Zone was a fun
That was
game.
one of my challengers.
Yes. It was one of the things. I remember playing that game. Actually, I never beat that game as a kid, but I remember playing it with such like it would just look cool when I was a kid.
It was a cool
You know what I mean?
game.
It was fun. It was like cuz that was the time when I was reading comic books.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That like I used to ride my bicycle over to the next town with $10 and this little dino from the Flintstones dino bag.
Yeah.
Go to the 10-cent bin with $10 and walk out with 100 comics. That's where I got my 1986 Man of Steel #1. You know what I mean? Which is actually an iconic comic if you go back and look at it.
Yeah.
But Comic Zone was just fun. It was just it was fresh. It was something that was it was different from everything else. I feel like they tried to go outside of the box and really capture the 90s comic craze.
Yeah.
The 90s, the comics were crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we had the animated series of everything, which accented on the comic books, which will be one of my other ones if you don't say it before me.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
So Comic Zone. Comic Zone was not going to be on the list. I actually think it hits. It's almost on the list, but it's not on the list.
Well, that was something that I played. You know what I mean?
Same here. I'm just picking games that I personally played and were some of my favorites. Number 6 would be the Sega Spider-Man.
Sega Spider-Man.
That was the first Spider-Man game on Sega Genesis. The style of it, the soundtrack is still the same thing. Like I remember playing that to death. I remember Venom being a bitch because he would just sneak up and just fight you while you're fighting a villain.
I actually hate that motherfucking game, to be honest with you. That game was the bane of my existence for a long time.
It was a good
when I
game.
was a kid.
It's a good game. It takes time to beat it. But that Venom motherfucker, he'll come out, like, you'll be fighting Dr. Octopus, and Venom be like, hey, guess what, motherfucker? You gotta fight me, too.
Yeah.
And he did that throughout the whole game.
I mean, the graphics for that game was really cool, too. You know what I mean? Like, when I was a kid, I was like, wow, this is the animated series right now.
Yeah, it was a fun game. I definitely checked that one out. So, number 6
I'm gonna... now, this probably ain't on nobody's list. Nobody's. But it was a fond game of me and my late friend Brian.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to him. We used to play Jungle Strike all the time.
Jungle Strike was a fun game.
Jungle Strike was
That's the
literally
helicopter
it was
shit, right?
yeah, where you have to strategically bomb like
Yeah,
fortresses and like the armies and stuff like that. It was literally like Risk,
yeah,
but like in a modern '90s kind of feel.
yeah,
That game, I need to buy that game just to replay it because me and my friend Brian spent countless hours playing that game because it was one of the few games that he had, and he literally lived 3 houses away from me.
yeah,
I was like, I met him when he's 3 and I was 5. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So picture us growing up, together, and like that was one of the games I can remember. It was the first game that I remember that had the yellow tab at the top
Yeah.
of the cartridge itself.
Yeah.
That I used to think that you can pull out. I used to think you can pull it
Yeah.
out all the time,
That
but
was because it was EA. EA was known for that. EA's all their cartridges had that, so they didn't have to pay Sega licensing rights to make a cartridge.
that's actually interesting to know.
Bulls versus Lakers had it. Bulls versus Blazers had it, and all that shit too. All the EA games had it.
Now that game,
It was
I
kind of
spent
like
a,
you remember NES? They had Tegan had their own cartridges. They were all black.
yeah,
Same
I do.
thing. Same thing. So they didn't have to pay cartridge rights to Nintendo, so they made their own cartridge. Fun fact.
That game is so underrated, man. It's like I don't ever hear anybody ever talk about that.
I like those games. I remember. Honestly, I personally rented those games all the time.
That's what's up. But I
I
had
feel
to
like
throw
playing
that out
GI
there.
Joe.
Like there is really necessarily no favorite order of anything that I'm doing.
Yeah.
These are just things that I was fond of when I grew up. You know what I mean?
Okay. So there'll be number 7 right now. My number 7 will be Earthworm Jim.
I was just going to say Earthworm Jim.
That game was so dope, but it was so hard.
It was. Oh my god, it fucking sucks so bad.
But I
bro.
love
But
that
it was
game.
fun. It definitely was fun.
Groovy.
That game reminded me of fuck, what was the game I was just thinking about? The rocket, I'm gonna have to look it up real quick.
Were you talking about Rocket Knight? No.
Yeah, no, a little bit like the was it Rocket Knight? Hold on, let me Rocket Knight Adventures.
Yeah, I like the Rocket Knight. That's also on my list of games.
But that's actually not on my list, believe it or not.
I like the Rocket Knight. They did a
but
remaster of it. It's on the Xbox and PS3, PS4.
It was just this was such a great era. But so you're doing that one,
Yeah.
right? I'm going with Aladdin next.
Aladdin is a good one. Even though the Super Nintendo one is a superior one, but yeah.
Yes, but
I like the Sega Genesis one.
the Super Nintendo one I literally beat in like 16 minutes, bro.
Yeah.
Like literally I flew through, maybe not 16 minutes. That might be a little like over like, you know what I mean? Like yeah, over exaggerated. But I guarantee you I beat that game in like a half hour.
Aladdin's good. Aladdin was really
Aladdin
good. And also
was
the
fun.
soundtrack was really dope on Sega Genesis.
Fuck the Lion King though. Lion King will not be on my motherfucking list at all.
Alright,
I hated that damn game.
My number 8 is this one came out late in the Sega Genesis console era. Batman and Robin Adventures.
Oh my god, that game was fucking awesome. I can remember the cartridge. I can remember the cartridge right now, bro. The cartridge, it literally looked like the animated series.
Yeah.
Like the comic books.
Yes.
But it was the comic book though that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like if you remember the Batman Adventures comic book.
Yeah, 100%. It was based on the Batman Adventure comic.
Oh my bro, I remember it like it was yesterday. I didn't own it. I never beat the game, but it was one of those games that was just like I was intrigued by it.
So
you know
I
what mean?
remember looking at it in Game On. It was a little pricey. It was a little too pricey for me at the time. So I kind of wanted to own that game. That game was really good, but it was really hard. But it's a really good game, really fun game. That would be my number 8.
Sliding it right after that. I love the Animaniacs game. I thought I just it was just fun
That
because
game was
like
so fucking hard game too. I
it,
remember I
it
had that.
was.
I had that. Mom, I remember my mom buying this game, and her thing was, "You better buy another. You better beat this game. If not, I'm not buying another game." And that game was so fucking hard to beat. And then it took me like about 6 months to beat that game.
I don't even think I ever beat that game. I'm be honest with you, I didn't play that game until I was like 16 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's when I finally got my first Sega. It was
Yeah.
given to me and like a whole bundle. I bought it at a garage sale.
Yeah.
And it was like $30. It was like the console, and you got like 10 games with it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And there was a lot of stupid games that I don't even really want to mention. Like there was this black and white game with these robbers. I forget
Yeah.
what the hell what that name was. What the name of that shit
Spy
was
versus
called,
Spy?
but. I don't know. I can't even begin to even think of what it was. But I was playing that game, and it just irritated the shit out of me.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But that game, Animaniacs, bro, it was that and like Tiny Toons.
Yeah,
They're like
Tiny
the
Toons
same
was fun,
shit.
too.
The Tiny Toons games was so because that was like that era. Tiny Toons was out. We were kids. Like Tiny Toons, I played as a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Animaniacs game I played when I got older, and that's when they started doing the reruns on WB.
Yeah, it was good. I remember the game. I remember how hard that shit was. So I'll give you credit for that. My number 9 will be another game that I think came out late in the cycle of the Sega Genesis. Was it? You know what? No, it's not late in the cycle. I was just looking at it. Give me a second. I'm gonna go with. Damn, I was gonna put Rocket Knight, and there's some other two that I liked slightly better than Rocket Knight.
Rocket Knight was fun.
Rocket Knight was fun. It was a fun game. It was a really fun game. I'm gonna put. So I don't want to put a. So I already said earlier I didn't want to put like other versions of the same game. So that's the reason why I didn't put Sonic 3. Because Sonic 3, I have a high regard for it as well, so just add that with Sonic 2, and that'll be fine. So with Sega Genesis, I remember playing a lot of this, and this is something that you mentioned again with the sport games, and I remember playing this a lot more than most games, which was Coach K basketball. It was a college basketball game that came out during
I have no clue what you're talking about.
So it came out after NBA Live 95, and it was a Coach K basketball. It was a college basketball game. This was the only basketball game that you could dunk and break the whole backboard down.
Yeah, made by Hitman Productions. I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah.
Coach K College.
Coach K college basketball. It was an EA game.
Who
as
the
well.
hell played college games at that time?
You know what I mean?
The
only reason why I knew that I wanted to play this game because my boy was like, "Yo, you could break the backboard in this game." I was like, "What? Yeah."
What?
Yo, that game was so much fun. So it played just like NBA Live 95, but it just was more fluent. And it was a bit more even because not everyone knows college football, especially in your age and whatnot, college basketball. So you don't know what team you're picking. And so you may be picking a scrub. But when you get those dunks going in and you fucking finally break the backboard, it's fun as hell. So that was one game that just hits me memory-wise.
Yeah, I feel you. Another game that this was just the family all around game. It was like Wheel of Fortune. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Like they had a Wheel of Fortune game. They had a Jeopardy game. Like all those TV shows that we grew up watching.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can never go wrong with any form of Wheel of Fortune, especially the handheld.
Mm-hmm.
That you just played. That's the only thing you played was Wheel of Fortune.
I thought I think I bought it on the Switch recently because my nieces play it.
That to me was, it was just family fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with me. You're up against one other person and you're trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? It's like you cannot go wrong. Jeopardy I sucked as a kid.
Yeah.
If we played Jeopardy today, we would probably know more because of the time that it was in.
I'm surprised you give it trivia. I have a lot of useless facts.
I mean, prided myself on in my life of being a capsule of useless information.
Surprisingly,
You know what I mean?
Jackie's extremely good with Jeopardy.
Well, Jeopardy nowadays, R.I.P. Alex Trebek. Here and there, I'd be good, but like Wheel of Fortune, you pop on Wheel of Fortune right now, like I should be on that game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
All right.
So I had to showcase that game just to bring like a family-esque to
So my
everything.
number 10 is tied because I just want to highlight this game.
Never
as
even
well.
heard of it.
No,
Never
it's
even heard of it.
Tied. It's gonna be tied. It's gonna be 2 games. The first game will be X-Men for Sega Genesis,
Yo, well, X-Men was gonna be my last one, so you just took that shit away.
and then it's gonna be tied with. I was just looking at it. Where is it? God damn it! Damn, I just had it in my head and I can't think of it. Fuck. What was the game?
One game I hated was that X-Men game that you fucking made me for one of my challenges. I fucking hated that shit.
I did that on purpose. Yeah, X-Men. I will say that was one, and then I will slash it with Mortal Kombat 2.
Mortal Kombat 2 was good.
Yeah, we talked about that, but X-Men was it was the first time we actually had a decent side-scrolling X-Men game because all the other ones sucked. So Sega made this one. It had a cool vibe to it. It was still hard as shit, but it was very enjoyable. I didn't care for the sequel, but I liked the first one.
The last one is the game that I've mentioned when we were discussing the console itself, which was Jurassic Park.
Yep.
Jurassic Park was fun, bro.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. It was a game that I never beat. Another game because I didn't have it. I didn't own it.
Yeah.
So I could only play it with cousins. I remember the rats were falling through the ceiling. I remember dropping down on the Tyrannosaurus Rex bones. I remember all that. I remember the whole game up to like a certain point, and I have no clue what happens afterwards. But I remember the feeling of playing the game. Like it was just so cool. It was fun. And at that era in time, Jurassic Park movies was like the biggest, like blockbusters that we knew at that time. Like you didn't see stuff like that beforehand. Yeah. At the graphic level that it was, you know what I mean, for cinematicness. For a game, it was just cool, and I highly recommend that everybody play that. I might have to go and buy it and go and play that game. I might have to go and do that.
And we still gotta go to Beavis and Bud one day.
Yeah, but we have to actually do it
and understand what sober, so we understand what the fuck is going on.
No, anyway. But I really think the controllers was the problem when we were playing that.
So we might have to get the Sega Genesis
I got a couple of honorable mentions that I'll throw out there. Was Fantasia. Fantasia was an honorable mention of mine. Michael Jackson's Moonwalker.
Yeah, that was almost one. That was almost one.
You know what I mean? That was there. Frank Thomas' Big Hurt Baseball.
Okay.
Was the original one before the Sega Saturn one. Yeah. That was the one that I played the most on. And that's probably the only
baseball.
Game. And the basketball game that I was talking about before was the Bulls versus the Lakers.
Bulls versus Lakers,
That was
the original
Mighty
EA
Morphin,
ones.
The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers games. The first and the second one.
I'll say the second one.
That one.
The second one was better.
No, I actually like the first one better than the second one.
No, I like the second one better.
The
second one better. Second one was a game. The other one was just a fighting game that lasted 15 minutes.
Yeah, but you got to see the Dragon Zord. You got to start with the Megazord. You beat the Dragon Zord. Then you're the Dragon Zord, and then you're beating fucking.
I beat It was a 15-minute game. I didn't fucking care for
that. When I got out of the hospital, when I was sick for a week, the first thing I did when I got out of there was play that game.
Yeah.
And I actually hit up Walter Jones, whatever his name is, the one who played the Black Ranger Zack. I hit him up like, I just got out of the hospital. It's the first game that I played, and it was with you. He actually hit me back.
Yeah, they do that. They do that stuff. I love that when they do that.
Well, just from our cast alone, a lot of them that follow our.
Surprisingly, and I'm surprised Steve Cardenas still follows us.
Yeah, because we shit on him so bad, bro.
Steve
We
Cardenas
shit on
follows
him.
us, and
Not
he
as
likes.
much. Not as much anymore. He probably loves us.
You know
now.
what's funny is the fact that when I posted things on Instagram and shit like that, he always likes to post. Always.
That's funny.
I don't know. Maybe he's a bot.
Yeah, I'm looking at a list of stuff. I remember Page Master was a fun game. Pac-Man. You can never go wrong with Pac-Man games.
Miss Pac-Man was dope on the Sega Genesis.
Miss Pac-Man's one of my favorite games ever in the
I'll say
history
Outrun.
of games.
Outrun and Outrunners was a really fun game on the Sega Genesis. That was like the racing game with the Ferrari. I love that game. I forgot that was the second. That was the other one I was trying to think of. But Mortal Kombat came out first. Super Street Fighter. Super Street Fighter 2 was one of my favorite games on Sega Genesis. Me and my friends used to tournament wise in the house and shit like that.
Remember playing Shaq Fu? You played Shaq
Fuck
Fu?
Shaq Fu. Fuck
I
that
fucking hated that. Fucking hated that game too.
Fuck
bro.
his remake too. Fuck that game as well. Fuck you,
Fuck
Shaq.
Shaq.
Trying to make video
Fuck
games.
Simpsons, Bart versus the Space Mutants.
Oh, that was
yes,
a pain in the ass game.
but it was fun, bro. It was fun.
Play it now.
These are
Play
I'm
it
just
now.
looking. I know.
Play
I
it
probably
now.
fucking.
I
Bro,
bet you
suck it.
anybody bet you were like, what the fuck is this?
I'm just going. I'm going through the list of
Yeah.
every game that was ever made.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, right now, and
So-
I'm just scrolling through it really fast
Yeah,
to
let's,
see what it was. Super Smash TV. Oh,
I remember that game. That was a fun game as well. I'll say Gunstar Heroes was a fun game.
Terminator 2: Judgment Day.
Yeah. Gunstar Heroes was a fun game. Castlevania Bloodlines was a really good game.
Castlevania is actually one of the highest rated Sega games ever, and I've never played it.
Yeah,
Never played
Castlevania
it.
Bloodline was a really good one. So
Tecmo Super Bowl.
Tecmo was fun too. So let's so this is Sega Genesis. This is our love for Sega Genesis. This one actually went quite longer than the other one, so there's a lot to talk to with that. Let's move on to our next segment because we are already an hour in. So let's go to the games that paved the way, and then we'll go into the new challenge.
The new challenge.
So do you have a game that you're gonna mention to pave the way?
I do. And it's actually quite simple. It's not even really that extravagant of a game, but I thought long and hard about it. As you know, when we were working, I was just trying to, jog my head to the games that were the shit, and still transpires still to this day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my game is Tetris. Tetris deserves probably one of the most uppermost respect.
I'm trying to see if we actually have Tetris on here. I'm surprised it's not on there.
Tetris is not on there.
No,
we talked about it yesterday.
Yeah, Tetris is not on there.
Tetris is not on there. And Tetris is literally it's just cut and dry frustration.
Yeah.
That's what it is. You know what I mean? And I'm really good at Tetris. I find that I know how to manipulate the blocks to line them up and then drop them down.
Yeah.
Where you would line it up a decent amount and then you would drop it down. You would get more points for the amount of blocks that you knock down at one point in time. So you don't want to kill each line each time. You want to keep building it up to the point that you have one of the straight blocks, and then you just drop it down and then boom. But once you get to like a certain level, it's just like it's designed for you to fail. There's no end to this game.
Actually, the NES ones had an end. I think you ended at level 20.
I've never been to an end of a Tetris game ever in my life. I remember us playing Tetris at work.
Yeah.
And we were having championships.
Yeah. We should bring
And
that
I was
back.
I was the intershift champion.
Once.
For a little bit. And then Camacho won it, and then Dot won it.
Yeah.
I remember Dot
I
won
beat
it.
Dot
won it
for
after.
it.
So then you're the champ right now. So
Yeah,
you're going to
I
have
think
to
you're
bring
right.
that shit back out.
Yeah, I have the game. We'll bring it back up.
That would be fun because now we have a new group of people that would enjoy it. We got Santana. Shouts out to Santana. Shouts out to Alvin.
Yeah.
Shouts out to Reynoso.
Alvin!
Hey, it's Franklin.
Yeah. We have like little theme song for everybody. We need one for Santana.
Listen, man, we
Tetris
got
is
an entire homeless world going on.
That's for another podcast. That's gonna be the Patreon exclusive. The shit we see in G Grand Central.
I feel like we should start like like a freestyle script of what's actually going on in their world. It's like an episode by episode, and we just leave
Right.
it off.
Yeah.
What happens to Dukaka
Yeah.
or Yomanto Squishy?
Yeah, I know Mike will love to hear that because I told him the story of everything, and he just fucking
See,
cracks up.
but the thing is, I don't think anybody really could understand it.
No,
You know
have
what I
to
mean?
be
Like,
there.
you have to be there, and you have to see what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because me and you, we deal with the homeless people on a one-on-one basis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we gotta do our job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
All right. So Tetris is yours. Mine's is a game that I just went through the entire series recently because they just did a remaster for, and I'm gonna put that as my game to pave the way, and is Mass Effect. Mass Effect. If you
never played it.
yeah,
Never played it.
It's a sci-fi action RPG.
No,
game.
I know what it is.
Yeah.
I just never played it.
Is it? Yeah, I'm just giving the description. Sci-fi action RPG game that's choice influence. So like your choice matters. So whatever choices you make will actually bite you in the ass or succeed within your gameplay. So if you go through one and make certain choices, part 2 is affected by it. Part 3 is affected by it. So that's something I love about those
Choose your
games.
path. It's like an R.L. Stein book. You choose your path.
It was very mature, but it also has a lot of heart. It has a lot of substance. It has a lot of great story. Part 2 is by far the superior one of all of them, but all the 3 games are amazing things. They actually have a Mass Effect remaster trilogy, so if you actually want to play it, go play it now, because that remaster is actually really fucking good. Do not play Andromeda, though. Andromeda sucks, and I'm playing that now. I'm trying to force my way through it, but it sucks. Other than that, play that trilogy, play that remaster. It's about $60 right now. Most likely EA will put it down in price by the holiday season, so definitely check that out. It's one of my favorite games of all time on 360, so definitely check that out.
It
was my top game on 360.
I'm intrigued. I trust your judgment on games. We have similar feels and stuff like that, so I trust everything that you've presented to me that I actually dove down into. I've enjoyed, so I do trust your judgment.
It was my number 1 game on the Sega on the 360 podcast we did.
Yeah, now I remember it.
All right, so moving on, because I'm going to explode if we don't finish this cast.
Listen, guys, we drink alcohol while we do these casts. So.
The next one is the challenge.
The challenge.
So we have a month to finish a game of our. We were challenging each other with the games.
A limit of 40 hours.
Yeah,
you know
limit
what I mean?
of 40 hours, or just it has to be accessible. So that's something that we try to do, is just keep it, make it accessible. So if someone has
so
it,
like
that,
I try and give him games that I own, so I can hand him the game.
Yeah, exactly.
And he can play it in the physical form, because what my challenges will be the games that I loved, that I made sure that I went out and bought.
Okay.
Which have been introduced in multiple of these casts. You just have not chose them.
Yeah.
So I am knocking you down and making sure that you play these games.
All right, so put yours first.
So I have 4 games for you, actually.
Okay.
First one is probably my favorite beat 'em up game, which I know you've played before.
Okay.
But I would not mind you going back and just feeling the essence of it, which was Renegade.
Okay, I like Renegade.
Renegade is one of my top favorite NES games ever in the history of everything, because I remember playing it at my cousin Richie's house, and it was just so much fun. It literally is a less cartoonish version of Streets of Rage.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that's one. The other one is a game that is probably one of my first memories of playing games, is Bubble Bobble.
I like Bubble Bobble.
Bubble Bobble for the NES is such a hard fucking game.
I think it's on the Switch.
I don't know, but I have the actual cartridge game for you to play. So I wouldn't mind you actually popping it in
I think it's on
and
the Switch.
using it that way. Because I don't know what the Switch offers.
It's
you
the
know
same.
what I mean?
It's the exact copy of the game.
All right. Well, so That's two. The other one I mentioned this I think in the last cast was Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Karate Kid was a game that I actually never have beat. The other two games I've beat.
Yeah.
This game I've never beat, and I would be interested to see if you beat it. You probably will, but I'll be interested to see.
You know what?
If you do,
I'll take Karate Kid. Just
But
to get
you
the
haven't
fucking.
heard- you
Just
haven't-
to,
You haven't heard my
what's the
fourth
fourth
one
one?
yet. And this is for Sega Genesis, and it's the Ren and Stimpy game for Sega Genesis.
I'll take. I remember playing Ren and Stimpy. I actually liked the game. It was actually pretty fun.
It was fun. It's a fun game.
I will take Karate Kid, so you can stop putting it in a damn list.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I've never put Renegade in there, but I've put Bubble Bobble in there.
Renegade, I have finished many times when I was younger and stuff like that. So I kind of remember a lot of the stuff. So
I just wanted you to
if
revisit
I want,
it.
like,
It's
if
not.
you ever,
It's not about
it's
stumping
more.
you.
It's more about like I want to play something that I haven't played, and Renegade is something I have played. I remember it thoroughly, so I'm like, all right, I'll do that because that'll be an easy one to go through. Bubble Bobble, I like that game. So when they added it to the NES Switch thing, I went through that game. I love that game. It's fun.
There is a stipulation
Okay.
to the Karate Kid. You have to catch a fly.
Okay.
I've never was able to catch a fly.
Okay.
Never beat the game. Never nothing. I
Okay.
just remember the game pissed me off, and I guarantee you, this game will piss you off.
Oh yeah.
So I'm happy that you chose that. I'm happy
Yeah,
that
I
you
just want to
chose
get it out the list because you keep adding it to it.
Well, but these are the games that I'm
Yeah.
fond of that
Yeah.
I want you to play. So if I give you a list of things that you've played before,
Yeah.
that's only to make you want to revisit those games.
Okay.
If I give you a game that I never beat,
Yeah.
I want to see what it's like.
Yeah.
What you tell me.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So, for you, there's a game that I know you don't like, but I'm gonna put it in the challenge anyway, and I want you to try to go through it. There's a game that I don't think you ever beat or maybe played. We never really talked about it, so I'm not sure your feelings towards it. And then there's a game that I'm just like, fuck it, I'll just add that to it as well. So, you have a list of 3. You have Donkey Kong Country,
I have it on Super Nintendo.
and you have it on the Switch. It's on the Switch. You can play it on
But I have
there.
it on Super Nintendo.
Yeah, but you ain't gonna play the Super Nintendo, so play it on the Switch.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're definitely right about that one.
All these games are available on the Switch, so definitely you have no excuse in that sense. Super Metroid would be number 2, just because the announcement of the new Metroid game. So Super Metroid would be number 2, and number 3 would be. I was looking at 2 games. That's the reason why I have stumbled on my thing. The Super Punch Out.
Super KO Boxing?
Yeah.
I've never beat that game. That fucking game pisses me off so much. That's on the Switch?
It's on the Switch as well.
Super KO Boxing is on the Switch.
Super KO, Super Punch Out, which is Super KO Boxing. Super
Well,
Metroid.
because it's not Punch Out because they don't have the rights to Super Punch Out. The Punch Out.
Yeah, they have Super Punch Out on the Switch. It's called Super
Yes,
Punch
but
Out.
Super Punch Out is Super KO Boxing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Exactly.
what it's called.
Exactly.
Ooh, man. Yo, straight up, it's a toss-up between Metroid and Super, Punch Out. Because I'd never played Metroid, I'm gonna go with Metroid.
Okay. So
Because
Super Metroid.
I feel like that is long time overdue. I've never even experienced the game ever.
Okay.
I've never even seen anybody even play the game. I know the game and I've seen what the game is. You know what I mean? But I've never actually been in the vicinity of anybody that was actually playing the game, nor
Yeah.
have I ever attempted to play the game.
Okay.
Even though Super KO Boxing is just Super Punch, man, that shit is that's ringing on me right now because I'm still trying to beat Mike Tyson's Punch Out. I'm still trying to beat that damn game, and it's just, I'm horrible. I'm so bad at. The problem is with that game is that I play it for a large amount of time in a very short amount of time,
Yeah.
and then time passes.
Yeah.
and then I forget the patterns.
Yeah.
So then it takes me a while to build it back up, and then
Yeah.
I get frustrated, and then I stop. But I'm gonna go with my first choice, my first gut
Super
instinct,
Metroid.
which was Super Metroid.
So-
I will play that.
Challenge accepted.
Accepted.
I got Karate Kid. You got Super Metroid. So,
Which is Super Metroid is what, an NES game?
Super
Nintendo
NES.
game? Super NES.
Hence
Okay, and you
the
got
Super.
so we're going yeah, hence the Super. Yes. so we're going old school Nintendo. Let's do that. Let's do that. I'm down. It sounds fun to me.
So we're gonna wrap this up because we are going almost an hour and a half long. So we're gonna wrap this up. Thank you for listening. This is Mark with the mic. Follow us. The easiest way to follow us, all our podcasts, is on Spotify. Recycling on Spotify. You can listen to the Oz Shell Shock, the Morphicast, which we actually have a new episode this week, so definitely check it out. It's about the Lightning Collection. The Not a Trekkie podcast and the Game Array podcast. You also could get our weekly podcast of the Wrestling Babble and Guess Better I Swear. Guess Better I Swear. We're doing 2 decades of superhero comic book movies. We are up to this week of Rocketeer. The Wrestling Babble, we give you all the news and everything you need to know about wrestling.
Rocketeer was a comic book?
Comic book superhero movie, so it's considered a superhero movie.
Okay. Rocketeer, yeah, I can see that.
Comic book / superhero, so it has to be one of the two.
All right.
Yeah. So
listen to Not a Trekkie, Star Wars podcast.
Yeah, I said everything.
I don't know.
Yeah, I said everything. Follow me on Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and SoundCloud. All Mark with the Mic. Follow Red Circle Link on all the same things: Twitter, Tumblr, YouTube, SoundCloud, and WordPress. They have a WordPress. They do a lot of images and stuff like that, and also post the podcast on the WordPress. So definitely check those all out. He's doing Mass Effect 2 now, so you see a lot of pictures of that. So check that out. And shout out to our producer Mike, because he makes all these podcasts sound beautiful.
I appreciate you, brother.
And follow Tenacious T. Just follow.
Yes, you can follow me on Twitter at Tenacious TRC Inc. I'm starting to get a little bit more active on there. I know I say in every cast that I'm going to, but I have been trying a little bit harder for that. Follow me on my own personal Instagram page, T_DA_tots. Come visit us at Grand Central if you're in the New York area and want to bullshit about any of the podcasts that we talk about,
or the legend of Yamato Squishy.
Yo, if you have time to spare, please come down. It's gonna be like a guided tour for you.
Many moons ago.
Also follow my because you're a part of it. Called the person, and I just like the space words out. Two artists, 2 bands, 2 musicians, 2 singers together, and we debate who we prefer over each other. It's not to discredit, but it's to see the preference of. Nothing but love and fun. It's actually starting to pick up a little bit. We've been doing pretty good on that. So like, follow, share in, and hopping on the discussions.
Yep.
Always a shouts out. Debate the Greats. Always a shouts out to Game On, retro video game store based out on Long Island. Out in 2 different locations, one in Miller Place and one in Smithtown. Satisfying all your retro video game needs. In every single podcast that we do, we shout them out. Rightfully so. They are the hub and the energy of what we try and project in this podcast in a physical form. Everything that we talk about, games, toys, comics, they got it all. They have arcades that you can go in there and play. They have 4 different televisions with 4 different consoles playing 4 different games at the same time. You can go in there and just bullshit. You don't even have to buy nothing. It's just the essence of the old school feel and bringing it back up to date. Bring your kid, bring your wife, bring everybody. If you're in the Long Island area, do that. Shouts out to Jay. Shouts out to Tristan. Always. Shouts out to the Max. Shouts out to Sal. It's not the Drunken Yeti no more.
The Bearded Yeti.
the Bearded Yeti. Shouts out to Mind of an Artist. Check out his Instagram page. He came out with his own clothing line called Drugs and Demons. Check that out. Very talented person. One of my friends, and that's that.
All right. Peace out, laters, and always remember, follow the Jinkies.
Fuck Zordon.
And fuck Zordon, because we don't like him.
And Splinter too, man. Splinter.
Yeah, Splinter's getting a little.
Splinter has the turtles robbing